Coming to you live from Sapporo, capital of the mountainous northern Japanese island of Hokkaido, famous for its beer, skiing, and annual Sapporo Snow Festival, featuring enormous ice sculptures. We are here today, not with... I don't remember what we used to have on Mondays, but we are here today on Monday and not Sunday, Monday evening and not Sunday morning, with ESL Open Cup Asia, number 170 something or another. There's been a lot of these. I'm, of course, your host, Yaku of Nizaku, and with me today is El de los Ojos y un millón de luciérnagas. Light _ VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? Yes, as you said, we are here on a brand new day of StarCraft, of ESL Open Cup Asia. They have moved it forever until further notice onto Mondays, and this is pretty exciting because this is a better time for the European players, worse for the North Americans, but we didn't really get too many NA signups anyway to begin with, to be fair.
Well, that's the thing. Now we distill it. Now we filtered it down to only the most premium of degens in NA.
We only get the most filthy of NA, Papi. Only the most filthy, and that's how we like it, Papi. That's how we like it.
Yeah. But for now, we are going to be looking at a Korea versus Korea matchup here. A bit of a PvZ on Neo Humanity. We're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. As we mentioned, he's going to be representing Abydos. He is NightMare.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, we have his opponent. We have his teammates also representing Team Abydos. It is the South Korean Zerg player. It is Mondo.
F's for the team kill.
Yeah, feels bad, man. To be fair, there are a lot of Team Abydos players here tonight. We got Mondo, we got NightMare, we have Creator as well.
Yeah, who most likely will be facing one of these two players in the next round. So, yeah. Our admins and our seeding have a thing against Abydos.
They do have a vendetta. It's true.
Fair, that's Cure in the other side of the bracket. So who knows? We could have an all Abydos finals.
It's possible, it's possible. It has happened before, it could happen again. But, you know, before we get too ahead of ourselves, we do have quite a nice series before us. Mondo, of course. I mean, I've been cussing him a lot of these ESL Asians. I know you haven't been as active recently, but he's an up-and-coming Zerg player in the Korean scene. He was on Team NV before, and now he's on Abydos. And, yeah, he's been improving quite a bit over the course of the past couple of months.
Yeah, from what I've seen, or rather when I think I first saw Mondo as one of the latest pickups on Team NV. He actually joined the team very shortly before it ended up having to disband. I thought, well, that's unfortunate, and that's going to be the end of that. But yeah, thankfully Abydos did decide to pick him up as well as the other NV boys, and like you said, he's been making full use of that. He's been practicing a lot. He has been shooting up quite a bit.
He really has. Of course, now a month ago, he did actually take down Nice in a best of series, and as an amateur player going up against the best of Taiwan, that was really impressive. But now he's up against his teammates. I'm sure they practice together. I'm sure they do kind of give each other advice. But NightMare has, you know, a little bit more weight behind him here as a storied player. Mondo is still looking to make a name for himself.
Yeah, well, NightMare may not be the absolute favorite looking at this bracket. Like you said, he's still storied. He is still, I would say, kind of the second tier to the top players in Korea.
Yeah, and he's been punching up recently. Actually, last week in ESL Open Cup Americas, NightMare, to the surprise of everyone, myself included, he made it to the finals. He beat Creator in the semis, and he beat Solar in the quarterfinals, and we were like, oh my god. We're like, NightMare, he's popping up, Papi. And I don't know if it was just, you know, something that he was eating that week, or maybe he just is improving as a player. We'll see if he has that consistency, but yeah, last week he had a really impressive run in ESL Americas.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I think is going to bode well here for NightMare, because We've always known him for being a bit of a PvP sniper, so beating Creator is kind of expected here. Well, I'm not sure how expected it is, but it's not the most surprising. But taking out Solar, who in these past couple of months, it has really been shaping up to be, I don't want to say the next Dark in a way, but yeah, he is looking to kind of cement himself as the best Berserk player in Korea. That is very impressive coming out here from NightMare.
Oh yeah, very impressive. And speaking of things that are impressive, this is something that has become very trendy recently. We had a Stargate opener into Oracle play, but behind it, we're not going into Blink, we're not going into Forge, we are going for a very hidden, very sneaky Glaives.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be on Mondo to be able to scout this. Seeing all of these Adepts is a bit of a tell, and thankfully he was already getting the Roach Warren ready. But Glaives is about to finish up, and he does not have a lot of forces to really repel the Adepts just yet.
Oh, he was a little bit supply blocked there for a minute, but now he has broken free. He can make roaches. The Adepts don't commit to the shade. They're still looking to deal some damage, and they do manage to almost get a queen.
Yeah, it's a really unfortunate pattern coming out here from Mondo. Swearing up his queens when he really needed them to be together the most.
Oh, exactly. As the Adepts still haven't done too much damage. Only 2 drones go down as they go into the main base, but the roaches pop out just in time.
Yeah, there are only 3 of them, but the queens do have quite a bit of energy on them. They are able to transfuse and give these roaches even more longevity than they normally have against Adepts. More drones are starting to fall, but so far it has been... Except it hasn't quite been game-ending damage yet for Mondo. Now I think it is.
Yeah.
Now I think we'll get there.
11 drones going down. Very little mining happening here from Mondo. He will eventually clean this up, but oh my god, I spoke too soon. Another drone is going to go down, 13 in total, and now NightMare has a really hefty worker lead, has a great economy, and he is transitioning out of Glaive Adepts.
Yeah, let's not forget, that wasn't super committed coming out here from Mondo, or at least not committed as it could be. Sure, he went for 4 gates, but he was still expanding behind this. He was still getting the rest of his tech, his robo facility and whatnot. This was more than enough for Mondo to continue to have for NightMare, sorry, to continue to have a lead going into the rest of the game.
Yeah, NightMare's build was designed to cripple, and he did exactly that. He crippled Mondo here, and now NightMare can just sail on ahead. I love this. He's even setting up a field here of stasis traps. He's aware that maybe he's a little bit vulnerable to an all-in if Mondo decides to cut workers, and he's preparing for that.
Yeah, he knows that Mondo has to reciprocate in some way. He can't just drone up as hard as possible, which, to be fair, that is what Mondo is doing right now. He is droning up hard and is almost catching back up when it comes to the worker count, but yeah, I think NightMare is very well aware that Mondo would love to go across the map and take out a couple of probes of his own.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important that he was able to get in with his Oracle. He was able to get a revelation on the roaches as well, to keep an eye on them and make sure that they were staying back at home. We see the 4th base coming up for Mondo, but Mondo is looking to cut some workers here. He's getting up to 69, up to 70 drones. Now he's working on his army. Nice. And he's gonna need it because NightMare is pushing in.
Yeah, this is a fairly beefy army. It's not a very big one, but considering we have 2 Immortals and a bunch of Stalkers, this can absolutely be a terror to roaches. Blinking pretty well, and get some pretty good force field too.
Yeah, very nice. And at the same time, it was just designed to distract because you know what? 2 Adepts, they slip into the triangular 3rd base. 9 drones go down. Oh my god.
And that's all you need, apparently. Yeah, all of that larva that Mondo had to spend to get these drones back up, all of that army that he was sacrificing, completely null and void, and now he's even more defenseless against the follow-up push from NightMare.
Yeah, and here we go. He blinks on forward. Looks like he's going to be able to get one of those queens for his troubles. He has plenty of energy for those force fields, and we don't have any Ravagers available for Mondo, so he can't really do too much about that. But here we go. 3 of them do more Vin.
And they're going to try to get something done, but NightMare realizes he doesn't actually have to commit just yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's working on a 4th base. Like, his worker count is looking quite healthy. He's transitioning into disruptors behind this as well. He has zealots. He's got charge on the horizon. Has to be careful not to lose too many stalkers, but his blink control has been quite good.
Very solid. I like this idea here from Mondo. He morphed in a couple of Banelings, and I think the idea here is to try to get them on top of the sentries, but like you said, NightMare has just been so on point with his micro that Mondo's not really able to find those opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. But he's now got a decently healthy worker count. Now he can finally focus on his army production. He's got 26 more Lings on the way. Pushing up this ramp is going to be a tough ask, especially because he's pushing up into Ravagers, but the Disruptors have arrived.
Yeah, that is the major major supply killer right now, and that was a very juicy Nova, taking out about half of the Ravager count immediately. This gives a NightMare a little bit of an opening as he tries to multi-prong with Zealots.
Yeah, the Zealots are getting cleaned up here, but the Novas once again connect. 2 more Ravagers do go down, and oh, who is it?
Is this me?
It's me.
No!
I'm right here. What?
Are you?
I'll leave. It's okay. But I'm right here.
Are you though? I can't trust you, Light. The game says you're not here. The game says you're not connected, man.
I'm connected to the internet. What?
It's like, I don't know. I don't know if you are.
I'm connected to OBS. What's happening?
Are you? Are you?
I'll restart my game client just in case.
It's not actually, yeah, we're not actually live right now, you know.
True. It's
whatchamacallit.
It's a replay cast.
Oh.
So I do apologize, but Yaku, if you could, is the game continuing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got this.
There. And we do see the concave coming down right outside this fourth base, this Fort 4th, which of course is kind of the backbone, the keystone of the defenses here from Mondo. Losing that just makes reinforcing his defenses that much more difficult. More Purification Novas are being thrown down just to zone the army away as NightMare is blinking on top of everything else. Oh, what a beautiful surround here of Stalkers just to box the roaches in for yet another Nova. GG. NightMare takes game number 1.
GG, Poppy, GG. I do apologize. You can end the stream now. I do apologize for, I guess, dropping out of the game, but the writing was kind of on the wall. Things were looking a little bit difficult there for Mondo in those last moments. Yeah, it's a little bit weird to randomly disconnect. I just disconnected from StarCraft, but just StarCraft. Bit odd.
Yeah. Something about the servers.
Yeah, maybe.
Potentially.
Maybe. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But we are looking to get into game number 2. Again, NightMare doing such a great job initially, just going for those glaive depths and doing so much damage in the aftermath of that. Mondo had a really hard time catching back up.
It really did. Should I tell him to wait?
Oh,
invite? Are you on the way?
I'm. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm on the way.
Yeah.
I accidentally logged into America instead of Asia. That's why. I was waiting in the wrong place. It's all good.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Get on. Yeah. See? I didn't even have to end.
Oof, beautiful. And it looks like game number 2 is going to be on Dragon Scales.
Indeed it is. Another very short, kind of vertical map, but one that doesn't quite have the quirks of Neo-Humanity. It doesn't have that linchpin. I don't think I'm using that word right. That keystone base right in the middle of the map there. That is really what you're. That is really going to determine whether or not you're going to be able to defend.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, this is going to be very, very different. A little bit of a larger map compared to Neo-Humanity, so something like a glaive depth push, you'll have more time to scatter, you'll have more time to prepare, but we are diving into that second game.
Indeed we are. And we are going to kick it off with a little bit of banter here, apparently.
Oh.
In the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we of course have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. is going to be representing Abydos, taking game number 1 very convincingly. Can you do it again? It's NightMare.
And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing Team Abydos. It is Mondo. Again, if issues do persist, then we will try and come up with a solution. Of course, we wouldn't want to like handicap the players in any way by lagging out and affecting the game. Thankfully, my internet is fine. It's just I just randomly disconnected. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. The only handicaps that are allowed are crowbar involved, not connectivity involved.
I
may have come across that clip again. That clip from Hero again. Talking about his plans to win.
Shaking my head, Hero, shaking my head. Such a violent thing to say. Oh god, but yeah, we are diving into this, and already NightMare really asserting himself in game number 1 with a pretty aggressive style, and that's kind of what he's known for. Again, NightMare, he isn't really known for his macro late gameplay. No, mate, he's all about the mid game. He's all about like crippling his opponent or coming at him with even an all-in and catching his opponent unawares. Yeah,
NightMare's definitely, if we're gonna use the C-boy terms, I would say he would have strategy in the 9 or even a 10.
Oh.
But yeah, he's not known for the late game, as you said. I think more often than not, when we do get into late game scenarios here, in whatever matchup, yeah, it doesn't really favor NightMare too much, which is understandable why he prefers to go for such clinical builds that tries to cripple his opponents early.
Oh yeah, exactly. And likewise, once again, well, I say once again, we have a Twilight Council. This time it is a straight up Twilight Council opener. So this is going to be hitting a little bit faster, a little bit harder. This could be to go into Glaive Adepts, or we could even see a weird DT opener instead.
Yeah, it's definitely one way of catching your opponent off guard and then gets their opponent off guard. We are following this up with a robo facility, so either way this is going to be very dedicated here from Mondo. Whether he throws out a couple more gates to go for Glaive Adepts, he's going to have a very forward reinforcing point with that Warp Prism, or if he decides to go for DTs, he'll have a way to drop them into the main.
Oh yeah, exactly. And there we go. Glaives does start up here for NightMare. We've got 2 gateways to begin with. We're at least going to throw down 2 more. We could go all the way up to 6 gates as well. So NightMare has got some options depending on how aggressive he wants to be and how in the face of Mondo he wants to be.
That's the 3rd gate and the 4th gate. And now we're waiting for a 5th and a 6th. Or at least I'm waiting for the 5th and a 6th. I want him to quadruple down. I want him to just flood on in. It would, you know, aside from being able to see all the pretty colors of the glaives being thrown down, I also think it would just work really well for him. We saw in the last game just how much difficulty Mondo had with defending against the initial push out. That was even with a Roach Horn that was about on time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. We saw how much damage was done. But for the time being, it's only going to be 4 gateways, which means he can transition into a 3rd base from here. It's not going to be the most committed, but there is still a lot of potential for damage. Glaives has now finished up, and NightMare is rushing across the map. Mondo has cut workers at 40, which is nice. He already has a couple of links on the way. No Roach Warren, though.
Yeah, which is definitely worrisome. He's grabbing the Baneling Nest right now, which can work, but is very much a gamble. You're relying on these adepts not being able to snipe the banelings before they connect with them, and that's not something that can really be relied upon.
I mean, Mondo was really not expecting these Glaive Adepts. The Lings are going down one after the other. The Roach Warren should have been thrown down a minute ago, and because he skipped it, he's trying to reactively, oh my god, go for the Baneling, but he snipes a Prism!
Yeah, that was some pretty good zoning initially coming out from NightMare, but unfortunately he underestimated how close he could really get to those queens. Orbital goes down, and that's going to knock a lot of the wind out of NightMare's sails.
Oh, it really is, as NightMare still hasn't expanded, by the way. He shades in towards the natural base, but Lings are coming on out. Even though Mondo wasn't ready, and even though his defense was really kind of strewn together, like, he is doing quite well overall. He hasn't lost too many workers. Oh, but I spoke too soon.
And that's kind of the problem with defending against glaive adept openings like this. You have to defend every single time. Your opponent just needs to take out workers once.
Yeah, exactly. You can be defending for like 2-3 minutes, and then in the last couple of seconds, in the last stretch, then NightMare comes in and kills 10 workers, and he's doing more than that. 4 workers have already gone down and counting.
Yeah, we have a couple of additional adepts coming across the map, and the warp prism did get remade. So NightMare, he kind of, well, I was gonna say he kind of doesn't want this game to continue, but he is preparing for it to continue regardless. He's getting a Robo Bane, doesn't have a third base just yet, but I can't say I blame him. I think he is well aware that he can just end the game now.
Yeah, I mean, this is far out of hand. 18 drones have gone down. We are finally getting our third base on the way. Before that, we have a base to get into disruptor production. So it's going to be the 1-2 punch, adepts into disruptors. And as you were saying, I don't think NightMare even needs the disruptors.
GG is called, and NightMare takes that series 2-0. Very nicely done here. I do like that NightMare was kind of planning for the game to go forward. I think before I saw the third base go down, I was convinced that Robo Bay was just going to be for warp prism speed. I was thinking like, yeah, well, he's getting the Bay, but there's no way he can afford disruptors and whatnot, right? Well, apparently he could.
Apparently he could. Oh my god. Like, again, it was really impressive to see Mondo deal with the glaives initially and even snipe the prism, but again, his Roach Warren was heavily delayed, and that Baneling Nest was a reactionary Baneling Nest to the adepts that were already in his face, so he was just very unprepared for the adepts. He was not anticipating a Twilight Council opener at all, and he was caught with his pants down.
Yeah, and I do want to praise Mondo a little bit here in game number 2, because like you said, he was caught with his pants down, but he still was able to snipe the warp prism. He still, for a solid minute and a half, or maybe even 2 minutes, only lost 1 drone and a couple of queens or something like that. He was holding very well initially, but after a certain point, you just kind of run out of steam as a defender, and the adepts just have a very easy time getting on top of everything else. Once you don't have that Ling buffer, there's really no holding them back.
Yeah,
and of course that Ling buffer is meant to buffer for units like roaches and whatnot. So
yeah, Lings, they're a stepping stone, you know, as a buffer to get into roaches, or to even hold things in place for Banelings to connect with them, right? Like one or the other. On their own, we can see that they don't do too well against glaive adepts, especially when they're controlled as well as NightMare did, especially with utilizing the terrain, the SimCity, the just constant aggression. So GG, well played. NightMare will eliminate Mondo here in the first round, and he moves on to face another teammate.
Indeed, this time a Protoss teammate, one that he defeated just a couple of days ago, just about a week ago actually. About a week ago at this point, yes. It is going to be Creator.